Hello curious and welcome back. Where Camilla Parker Bowles is concerned, there are mixed opinions and there always has been. No matter how much time has passed, there are still some that have never forgiven both her and Prince Charles for the fact that he went behind Diana's back to be with her, despite the fact their romance began way before Diana was in the photo. But in recent days, a tragedy had struck the Parker Bowles family, and the names of Camilla's children from her first marriage have been in the press again, with many people actually asking the question, who are her children? So this is exactly the focus of today's video. What do they do for a living? Has the fact their mother became a senior member of the royal family changed their life much? What do they do for work? What tragic event has struck her oldest child, Tom? What's unusual about his relationship with Prince Charles? And how do they get on with their stepbrothers? Stay with us until the very end to find out all the interesting information. But before we continue, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our future videos. Before we start, curious, we're not going to go off by explaining to you the whole love story behind the Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall, because we've done that so plenty of times and have several videos about them. So if you're interested, you can find out more by checking out our royal playlist, the link to which is displayed above. But for now, make sure you stay with us to the end to learn more about how her children felt like about the merged households and the new extended family. Back in 1974, Camilla had married her first husband, Andrew Parker Bowles. They had two children, who we will talk about more in a moment. But after 21 years of marriage, in December 1994, they both had issued divorce proceedings on the grounds that they had been living separately for years. Their petition was granted, and the Parker Bowles ended up getting divorced in March 1995. The first child was Tom Parker Bowles, who was born on December 18, 1974 in London. He spent his childhood growing up at Bolhide Manor in Allington, Wiltshire, and then later in Middlewick House in Corsham. Through his father's side of the family, he has a connection to the Earldom of Macclesfield, and according to several sources, his father is next in line for the title. It is also worth noticing that since we know that his mother had feelings for Prince Charles, she decided to honour him by making the Prince of Wales her son's godfather. Tom had started his education at Summerfields Prep School in Oxford, and then later in the 80s, he and his sister attended Haywood Preparatory School in Corsham. Once he had turned 13, he attended the prestigious Eton College before starting his university education at Worcester College, Oxford. While Camilla's kids were never in the front pages of newspapers for some great scandal, there might have been a somewhat of a dark spot on the past of Charles's godson, and one that dates back to his time at university. As it was reported by the Oxford Mail back in 1999, when he was 24 years old and at Worcester College, Tom would buy illicit substances for himself and his friends. One source told the publication, "I would put an order in and Tom would come back with what I wanted." The newspaper had also stated that during his first year he was arrested outside of a London nightclub for possession of illegal substances, but after claiming they were for personal use only, he was let off with a warning. A BBC report from around the time had also noted an article published in the News of the World, the story which made the front page, about Tom being under the influence while attending the Cannes Film Festival. Something that Prince Charles had taken a serious issue with. Then, according to the British press, he had phoned his godson to have a serious conversation with him, and according to the sources, he said, "You've been a bloody fool, pull yourself together." The fact that he was his godfather, and that both Harry and William were both friends of Tom, the heir of the British throne, was worried for the safety of his sons, and at the time, and as reported by the BBC court correspondent Jenny Bond, he had summoned the young princes to Highgrove for a face-to-face discussion about the situation. According to them, Camilla's son had reassured Charles that he had never taken any of the illicit substances while in the presence of his sons. Since those times, he has calmed down and has started working as a food critic. In an interview about his career, he alluded to the days by saying, "I was naughty, partied a bit hard. When I was younger, I got sacked all the time." But later went on to explain that he loved eating and that considering that he could, and we quote, "string a sentence together," he had decided to make writing about food his career. As of now, the 46-year-old has written several cookbooks and has worked as a restaurant critic for the Mail on Sunday, a contributor to Esquire UK, and often appears as a judge on culinary reality shows and competitions. He credits his love for food to his mother's cooking skills and recipes and said that they are what had inspired him to become a food writer. And besides just writing about it, he has ventured into the business side of things by teaming up with another food writer, Matthew Ford, and farmer Rupert Ponsonby to launch a pork scratchings snack named Mr. Totter's Great British Pork Crackling. And since they had great success with it, they had also started their own line of high-percentage beverages named Mr. Totter's Chestnut Ale, which was produced in partnership with the Lancaster Brewing Company. As for his personal life, since 2000, Parker Bowles had been in a relationship with Sarah Boyes, who was an associate editor of Harper & Queen magazine and senior editor of British Town and Country magazine. The couple married in September 2005, and according to Good Housekeeping magazine, they had a star-studded wedding with both Prince Charles's sons in attendance, as well as Mick Jagger and Hugh Grant. They had 2 children together, daughter Lola in 2007 and son Frederick in 2010. The couple ended up splitting in 2018, and while no reason was stated for it, Tom's friends had made it clear that no other person was involved in it and that both of them were focused on the well-being of their children. A year later, he began his relationship with a former journalist and mother of 3, Alice Prokop. Though it is with this relationship that sadness has struck the Parker Bowles family, as news recently came out that on March 17th she had lost her battle to cancer at the age of 42. A source close to the couple had stated that Tom was blissfully happy with Alice and that the shock diagnosis 7 months ago and now him losing her have left him devastated. Another friend of Prokop's had said that diagnosis was late due to the COVID restrictions, and by the time a diagnosis had been made, it was too late. A family member gave a statement to the Evening Standard saying that Alice was much loved and will be greatly missed and that she is cheering them all on from heaven. Camilla's son is yet to make a public statement about the passing of his girlfriend. Now, Camilla's second child is daughter Laura, born on January 1st, 1987. Just like her older brother, she grew up at Bolhide Manor before moving to Middlewick House in Corsham, where she attended the same elementary school as her brother. When it came time for her secondary education, she enrolled at St Mary's Shaftesbury, which is a Catholic girls' boarding school in Dorset. Completing her education, she attended Oxford Brookes University, where she studied History of Art and Marketing. It was a career path that she had stuck with, as in 2001, she had spent 3 months as an intern at the Peggy Guggenheim Collection in Venice. It seems her time there was a pleasant one, as in a later interview she revealed that every time she visited the city, she made sure to also pop into the museum. She had also worked for Tatler magazine as a motoring correspondent in 2001, while Tom worked for the same publication as a food columnist. From the mid-2000s, Laura has managed the Space Gallery in London's Belgravia area, before, in 2005, becoming the co-founding partner and gallery director of London's 11 Gallery, where according to reports, she still works as a curator. Laura's life has been a bit less talked about than her brother's, as there have not been any scandals attached to her name. A year after she started her job at the 11 Gallery, she married Harry Lopes, who is a former Calvin Klein model turned public accountant. Her wedding dress was designed by Anna Valentine, who just a year prior had designed the wedding dress that Camilla wore during her own ceremony when she married the Prince of Wales. As it was reported by Town and Country magazine, both of Charles's sons had attended Laura's wedding, which had proven to be a big opportunity for Kate Middleton. At the time, the Express had reported that this was her first official outing with William's family. On January 16, 2008, the Lopez family welcomed a new addition as their daughter Eliza arrived in the world, and in December the following year, they welcomed twin sons Gus and Louis. But what about their relationship with their extended family? For the most part, according to reports about the Parker Bowles siblings, they are good friends with both Prince William and Prince Harry, and it seems that Tom's alleged use of illegal substances didn't affect his relationship with the royal side of the family. It could also be assumed that Laura gets on quite well with William and Kate, as she was one of the bridesmaids at her wedding in 2011, though it was unreported if they had received invitations to Harry and Meghan's wedding. So that might not have always been the case, as according to the biography William and Harry Behind the Palace Walls by royal expert Katie Nicholl, Laura might not have been a big fan of Prince Charles to begin with. According to the book, when he would call to speak to her mother at their house in Wiltshire, Laura would pick up a phone typed into the same line and yell, "Why don't you stop calling mummy and leave our family alone?" Nicholl also added that back at that time, she couldn't care less that it was the Prince of Wales and that she blamed him for her parents' divorce. But it also worked the other way, because according to the same biography, William would blame Camilla for his parents' split, which apparently angered Laura, who would tell him, "Your father ruined my life." Yikes. Though clearly, now things have changed and there is no bad blood between them anymore. And it seems that the fact their mother married into the royal family didn't affect their relationships at all. In the book, the Duchess, Camilla Parker Bowles, and the Love Affair That Rocked the Crown, author Penny Dura states that she is very close to her children, especially Laura. The book also revealed that she spends most of the weekends with them. So curious, what are your thoughts on Camilla's children? Did you know the troubles that Camilla's son went through? Were you aware that Charles was also his godfather as well as his stepfather? Do you think Laura had really had hard feelings against Prince Charles? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Until next time.